Hello, hello, hello. I'm doing this thing. I know my camera doesn't exactly show it very well. It's some kind of cute fall house thingy. And I wanted to do it. But Tori, you may be asking, why haven't you been using Facecam in a while? Listen, it's fall going into winter here. Which means that my skin is doing its hecking darndest to turn itself into as close of an approximation of a leaf as it possibly can. So, my skin is not doing great, and I'm going to choose to not put it on the camera. Comes with a bunch of stickers. I know this camera does not exactly listen. I still need to find a better place in which I can do crafts and record them. The problem is that things keep happening to make it incredibly difficult to actually do that. There's not exactly good lighting in this apartment in which there's a better place to do this anyways. So at some point you just kind of give up and work with what you got. Like this is very orange actually, except kind of looks like coffee on camera because this camera's kind of shite if we're being honest. I might be switching to a different camera at some point in the nearest future. I have no idea. But like normal, I will have photos of it better at the end anyway. Because I do that with the larger projects. And this is actually a fairly large project. Like like it is this base is bigger than the size of my head, so it is actually like a good sized project. I just don't have a good place to actually show doing anything with it, unfortunately. Um there's like not even a good place other places in my house that I can be like, "Oh yes, this is a good place to show this." It's no. My it doesn't get better from here, folks. Hopefully I will at some point have a better location eventually, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Um Lighting wise, it's certainly not going to get better. All right, I guess we'll start with this cute little housey thing, which it appears can go either way. Also, they provided literally no instructions. There's no there's the instructions on the back literally just say, "Hey, look at the photo on the front and figure out how to put stuff on." That's literally what they look. Use photo as guide for assembly. Secure pieces with glue and tape as needed because we couldn't be bothered to provide you with glue dots. Because glue dots are too expensive for any company, apparently. I don't understand. Also, if you're going to say, hey, secure things with glue, make them stickers. Stickers. Sir, just make them stickers. These ones at least appear to be stickers. So maybe adding glue isn't going to be needed. We shall see. I don't know if it's going to be easier to put this foam sticker on and then put the sticker on. Or what. I don't know why they couldn't just make the foam stickers have the print of the stickers, but sure. That would make too much sense. I'm gonna try to show as much of the assembly as possible. But honestly, a good part of the problem is just that this camera is not great, and I don't have a better place to film me doing crafts. I tried to set up a better place for filming crafts. The problem mostly came down to uh lack of a place to actually put a camera. Yeah, there's not really an easy way to put these stickers on all the lined up completely either. What they should have done is made the stickers ever so slightly smaller than the foam, and that way, as you're putting it on, if your alignment's slightly off, it's still completely on the foam. But, what do I know? I've just been screwing with these kinds of things since I was a child. Um, but yeah. Mm, I really hope I can find a better place to actually, like, record me doing stuff like this, but honestly, part of the problem too is that I'm moving back where I was before soon, which means that setting up a whole new location here would be redundant when it's going to no longer be a thing anyway. And the old place also had really bad lighting and not very much space. And there's going to be even less space because it's not just me and my mom living there, it's also my husband living there too. So we already didn't have that much space. But hilariously, that one being an actual house is only slightly bigger than this apartment, with the main difference being there's actually a bigger garage that you can put stuff in, I guess. That would be the main, like, actual difference. Is there's a garage that you can put stuff in now. Yeah, we didn't really have much of a choice, so unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. This is how, yay, we became an adult. We became adults at, quite frankly, the most difficult time economically and financially to become an adult, because jobs don't want to hire you, but they want to claim that they're hiring, and everyone says, well, people don't want to work, except for then you have people that do want to work that literally can't get jobs because the people who say they're hiring are only saying that for tax breaks. And you know, that's part of why I started this, was in hopes of it at least maybe at some point in time, in some day, actually making money. But YouTube is also making itself more and more difficult to actually do anything on, because people have lower and lower attention spans, which means nobody is actually watching long form content anymore, except for if it's people that they know. So, yay. Anyway, trying to look at positives about moving back to my mom's, but really the biggest issue is that I am moving back to my mom's. And I don't think anyone as an adult wants to be in that position, especially when they only just got out of their moms. Like, not even 2 years ago. Like, almost, like, basically exactly 2 years ago. And to be forced back into that position where you have no choice but to go back sucks. Yeah, I think anyone that says that they would be okay with that is probably lying. Or they have a much better relationship with their parents, which I guess makes sense. But anyone who's been following on the poetry that I've been writing probably has figured out by now that I don't exactly have the healthiest, bestest relationship with either of my parents. So, anyway, this is supposed to be a crafting video, not a me whining about things video, but you know what? Here we are. I guess this is going to be crafting and also life updates. Because usually I do a little life update recap thing at the end of the year. I guess that's what this is kind of that going along with me just making some crafts. Yeah, we'll use that as the excuse. Um, anyway, this foam does not actually want to go together very well. Like at all. The holes are not very well aligned. The good news, I guess, is that this is the only structure that actually has to be put together. But none of this is aligning. So none of it is going in. Like, I get one piece to pop in, and none of the rest of it is going in. And the other side didn't really go in very well either, to be honest. You can literally see it's falling apart. Yeah, so that's nice. I'm guessing this is what they said were talking about when they said, and use glue and tape as it's needed. Because you're not going to be able to get this pumpkin to actually go together. There's absolutely no way. Because I get one piece in and then the rest of it falls apart. See? This side too. A couple of the pieces go in and the rest of it is like, no. I don't think so. What they should have done is made the front of this foam, like these two sides foam, but then made these a thin kind of plastic. That way they actually hold their structure when you're trying to put the tops and the bottoms in. Or I guess the front and the back in. Because that is not going to stay. Alright, well, I'm done arguing with that. I guess you're just going to have the front of this house, because I'm not. I cannot. I cannot be bothered to keep fighting with this on the child's project. I'm sure if I sat here and I argued with it for another, like, 15 minutes, maybe I would get it to go in. Gonna be honest, I don't care enough to do that, so we're not going to. And I'm going to assume that most children also wouldn't care enough to do that and would do the same thing. Yeah, so this studio is going to be nil in the near future. Well, not near future. I guess I get until March to enjoy my freedom. Um, you know when you know that something like this happening is just going to cause a domino effect in a bunch of other things, and you're not going to hear the end of it from like a whole bunch of fucking people because of one thing happening that means that everything else is also going to happen. Yeah, that's kind of where a lot of my concerns and annoyances come from, because I know dang well that this happening also means I'm not going to hear the end of it from like several different people who are going to continue to push their miracle solutions of how this and this and this, and I cannot. I physically cannot. I guess the good news is about moving back in is that I at least get to go back to actually being able to exercise more easily. Because while this place does have a gym, it's only a gym in basic things. Like, it basically has treadmills, stair climbers, and some weights, and that's about it. So it doesn't even really have much. And my preferred way, and the thing that I've been doing the most, was hitting the bag, because that's the thing that is the most soothing for my brain. So, hey, I guess now I get to go back to doing that. I would have put that up, but I cannot and still have screen room. So, what I don't understand is why they didn't just print the design onto this foam and then just give us a different piece of foam for the stem. Like, you could have made the stem part of the brown foam. That would have honestly made more sense. Especially since everything else on the house is brown. And pumpkin stems are generally brown. They could have made the stem part of the brown foam and skipped having to put stickers on the bushes, because they could have made the bushes a print. See, the problem is, if this worked well, it would kind of be a cute, like, display thing that you could put up for just that part of the year. Like, obviously this isn't the kind of display thing you keep forever and ever. But like, oh, look at this cute little thing that my kid made. Especially if you combine it with some other cuter, like, littler projects, like the ones that I did before that are like the little fall themed ones. Where it's like, oh, and now we can also have like this 3-dimensional turkey and this deer that are also part of the little thing. The problem is, it just doesn't want to go together. And they weren't smart enough to be like, hey, foam works better if it's printed on than if you have to try to put a sticker on it. Because stickers aren't going to align correctly. And children aren't going to care. So we could just print the foam and make it make more sense. Not only that, but they folded the big sticker sheet instead of just making it 2 separate sticker sheets. Which means that we also have to deal with the fact that the one side of the one tree is just going to be impossible to put back on. Because it's folded and there's a crease running through it. And like half of the one basket. Just print on the foam. Like, I get not doing that for characters and stuff. But things like this, where it's just a simple pattern on the thing, is not. I'm just going to take this off so I can pluck all of the little things out of it. Like, I understand not printing on the foam for the characters. Honestly, I would have understood if they just made the characters little cardboard cutouts that you stick in instead of making them foam. Because sometimes that's better, because then you don't have to worry about the foam not wanting to take the sticker. Because sometimes foam just doesn't like stickers. Like, you could have just printed the tree to have this on it. Especially if you're gonna put a freaking hole in the sticker. Because everyone knows that stickers don't like to punch out like that. Anyone who's done stuff like this before knows, one, it's going to be nearly impossible to line up the thing so that you can actually use the hole in the sticker. I managed to do not a horrible job, which is convenient. And only done because I've done this so many freaking times. You literally could have just printed this on. You could have just printed this on. And that way when you pluck this hole out, you don't have to worry about it. Especially since I'm just gonna... Can you see where the hole is? It is right there. It's absolutely minuscule. Which means that most people aren't going to notice it. And then they're going to put it on the thing wrong. And once you put it on the foam, you kind of screw it up for everything because it wants to bend funny. Or you could have just printed onto the foam, not had to worry about that, because the majority of this is this print, right? And this looks awkward as hell. I don't know if you can... There we go. You can see there's a sticker there. So what you do instead is you make this the foam and have it printed like this. And then you make this the sticker. So that it doesn't look nearly as awkward. And so you can have branches on the back of the tree too. Because it's really, really weird to have branches on the front of the tree and not on the back of the tree. And it doesn't stand. Good. Because again, the sticker makes it heavy. I'm just going to move this so you can see it. So the sticker makes it heavy because, you know, there's extra weight on the foam on the top now. So it doesn't want to stand. A thing which would have been avoidable if they would have made, say, the top of it be... If they would have made the entire thing be the print and the bottom of it be the sticker, because then the bottom of it is the part that's extra firm because of the sticker. Or the other easy way to solve this, you make the tree 2 pieces. You put an extra piece of foam going to like right here, and you put this owl on a branch somewhere over here instead of in the middle. If you just make the branch, if you just make the base 2 separate pieces, so that you have one piece going up like this and one piece going like this, now you have an X. Now you don't have a sad floppy tree. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. That one wouldn't have even taken that much effort to fix. That one is an easy fix. That one is an easy common sense fix to anyone who has done basically any craft ever. Why? And see, this is what I mean when I say they should have just made the characters foam or cardboard cutouts. All of these little accessories. Like, if you're going to cheap out and make the foam the way that you made the foam, just make this all cardboard. Because then you can make it so they actually stand without having to go up into these little things. And then you can actually use the little thing as a playset and actually set it up the way you want to. Because you could include little cardboard things and those little tiny plastic things like you use for game pieces. And then you'd be able to use it, and that wouldn't have costed that much extra money to do. And I know that because you can buy extra little plastic like game piece things on Amazon for basically nothing. That would have made this so much better. You just make all of the little characters. Every single one of these white foam things should have just been a nice thick piece of cardboard and a little plastic thing. So that way you can actually play with the playset. I feel like that would have been more valuable than forcing them all to go into a location like this. Because right now what you've done is force everything to have to go into a specific location, thus making it less fun to play with. Also, this front piece shows that there's a log included. There was no log. I did not get a cardboard cutout for a log. So now those 4 spots are empty. Because you saw me pull everything out. Right there. Right there, there's a log with a little thing. And I don't have that. I also don't even have stickers for that. I have extra stickers for the bushes in case you wanted to make the bushes double-sided, which I don't care about. I do not have stickers or a log. I don't have stickers for the log. I don't have the log itself. I just have a location in which a log goes, which means I have 4 random extra holes. And again, if you're going to force us to use stickers for something like this, you make the stickers slightly smaller than the foam piece, not bigger or as big as. Because then you're less likely to have a bunch of extra stickers sticking out. I still just see, now I'm annoyed that because they set this up to look like a little picnic, right? That's why we have this cute little string. We've got some stickers to turn into a banner. They did not include the thing that was supposed to be the picnic table. They also did not label the sticker sheets or the foam in any way. So you kind of just gotta peel the sticker and hope that you're choosing the correct sheet. The correct sticker for the piece that you've got. Which, again, if this is made for children, and it's supposed to be, because it literally says ages 4 and up, not all children have the greatest shape recognition, especially at that young of an age. And yes, they recognize basic shapes. I'm not saying that they don't recognize any shapes. What I'm saying is they don't necessarily have the best in terms of matching a silhouette. Because, like, if you didn't look closely at the stickers and you just saw this shape, would you have guessed that this shape was squishes? Squashes? Umpkins? No. They also didn't put all of the bushes in one location. Which means that if you had this folded the way I did and you didn't look at both sides, you wouldn't have known that there were stickers for both sides of the bushes. There are so many ways you could have improved this kit. And still kept it probably at about $6. Because this was about $5.49 at its regular price. And I'm telling you right now, I absolutely would not pay its regular price. I only bought this because it was 50% off because we bought it after Halloween. And for some reason, after Halloween, everything fall themed goes on sale, even if it has nothing to do with Halloween. Which I'm not mad at, but feels a little bit, like, unnecessary. Like, everything's on sale because we didn't fall is Halloween and Halloween now, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, like, would you have known that that's a basket of apples? Because that's what it is. But yeah, they could have pretty easily implemented all of the changes that I'm saying, and maybe the price would have been $7 instead of 6. Well, technically it's $5.49, but once you add taxes and everything, it's 6. Let's not lie to ourselves. Um, they could have really easily implemented all of the changes that I'm saying and still kept it at right about $6, because those little stands take pennies to make. They would have had to do about half of the amount of stickers if they would have made these as printed, like double-sided printed cardboard pieces. Which means all of the money saved from printing stickers could have gone into providing us the little plastic things, especially since they're no longer cutting foam. And cardboard, at least as far as I could tell, is easier to cut than foam. And, I guess the expensive part might be printing on the foam. But even then, like, I would rather it be a playset. I would rather it be a set that, one, works, and 2 is actually usable. Like, see, we're going back to this. Where the fuck am I supposed to put the squirrel? I don't have the log to put the squirrel on anymore, man. You didn't provide me the log to put the squirrel on. Where am I supposed to put the squirrel? Do I just put the squirrel where the log would be? The squirrel just lives where the log would go if I had a log. This is where I would put a log if I had one. This one definitely deserves the title of crap kit. I made a log. Unfortunately, they didn't print any of these stickers with extra around them, so I could make them into a tablecloth. Here we are. By the way, I literally just took a lighter and flamed that real quick so that way it would actually sit over the log. Because otherwise it was not going to do that in any way, shape, or form. It's just not going to. Not that I should have had to, because they should have just provided the log and the sticker that was supposed to go there. But here we are. Also, why does every single craft kit that includes string include this string? Is that string just the cheapest string to produce? Is that what this is? I don't understand.
I know you won't believe this, but I don't understand.
I mean, at least the advantage is because it has the white in it, it's really easy to put little marks on to do stuff with. So there's that, I guess. But, like, also, you provided felt for one of the things. One of the things that, quite frankly, would have been easier if you would have made it out of paper. Because it doesn't really want to lay very well flat. Because you used ridiculously thick felt. One, I would have preferred it if you would have cheaped out and used thin felt on the leaves, because, you know, leaves are supposed to bend, not stick straight up in weird angles because you used ridiculously thick felt for no good reason. So that's thing one. Honestly, that's the thing I would have preferred they cheaped out on. Use a thin, flimsy felt, or heck, just give us those cheap fake leaves that you can buy on Temu for like a whole bunch for a shit ton of them. For like not a whole lot for a shite ton of leaves for like no good reason. Do you need fall leaves? Here's 100 of them for like $5, if that. Um, that would have honestly been better because it also just looks awkward having leaves be as thick as the ones that they gave us. Like, why? Honestly, why? And two, why would you use felt for leaves and not for flag? If anything should have been fabric, it feels like flag would have made more sense. Give us a little tiny set of pendant. You could have used cheap quilting cloths, like little cheap quilting squares. That would have been easier, but no, here we are. I mean, it might have been more annoying to put on the string, but you could just give us a little tiny plastic needle. Those also cost pennies to make. And you just put the string on the little plastic needle and then you string it through the thing to go. Again, why would you make it so that some characters have to go in locations? Like, also, Bunny doesn't fit in either of these locations. What the hell? Bunny's base is too wide to fit in any of the two provided locations that you're supposed to put the things. So now the apples have to get moved over there. See, the problem with building with foam is that if you make the things so that they fit exactly, they are nearly impossible to put into the thing. And I don't understand why companies haven't figured that out yet and haven't figured out that, hey, maybe making literally everything foam and have no stabilization might make it incredibly difficult for little ones to actually use it and put it in the thing. So, as I'm wrapping up, I feel like I said all of my thoughts already, but they basically come down to this is poorly designed, and there's a lot of easy solutions that would have been able to been come to if they would have asked anyone who does crafts ever. This tree doesn't even fit where it's supposed to because it hits the pumpkin. I guess that means the pumpkin holds it up at least. But it also means the tree literally just is breaking the pumpkin slowly. So there's another thing where, hey, even if you had managed to get the pumpkin to go together, wouldn't be together anymore unless you used shite tons of glue. Did I enjoy this project? Honestly, not really. Is it cute? Yes. Is it worth roughly $6? Absolutely not. Was it worth the $3 that I paid for it? Yes ish. It did keep me busy for an hour. It does look cute. It's going to continue looking cute out on the table, especially once I add more things. So, the easiest and most simple way that you could have made this actually worth the $6 would be to make these figures cardboard instead of foam and make them able to be moved by including those little game pieces. That way you have a little scene that you can actually interact with. Because as a child, that is the thing that you want. You make some of the things actually have to stay. Like the bushes, yes, those get to be foam, those get to stay in place. The mushrooms, yes. If they would have included the freaking log table, yes, that would have been one of the things that stayed in place. It did not come with everything that it said it was going to. It was nearly impossible to put together the actual main. It was impossible to put together the actual main thing without using ridiculous amounts of glue, and no child wants to wait that long for it to actually dry. And there's very little play, and there's basically no playability with it after you put it together because they couldn't be bothered to include the one thing that would have made it actually be able to be used again and continue to be used. And it's a thing that would not have been that expensive to include, which just baffles me. Because, like, it would have been so much simpler to make each of the little characters out of cardboard and then just give us those little plastic stands so that you can move them around the scene. I'm not asking for an openable house. Not at $7. Not at $6 to $7. The house doesn't open. When you're paying that little, you don't expect a house to open. You do expect a house to actually go together, which also didn't happen. You would expect the tree to stand up, which doesn't happen until you put it in with the house, and then it destroys the house and pops the back off of it. I don't know. I feel like I made how I feel about this abundantly clear already. So here are the after pictures, since you can't really see it very well after it's put together on this tiny camera. And toodaloo.